Dear friends, Bill and Ben keep asking if they can be in a book again. Well, in Cornwall during 1988, I met Bill and Ben's twins and talked to the driver of one of them at Par. He set me thinking, and this is the result. If our China Clay twins enjoy being in a book again, they should thank him, not me. I hope you'll enjoy the stories too. The author. The Railway Series. Stories written by the Reverend Wilbert Awdry and his son Christopher Awdry. Audiobooks narrated by Samuel Dudley, aka Uncle Mammy. Book 33, Thomas and the Twins. Story 1, Scrambled Eggs. The bridge across the river needs repair, the Fat Controller told the engines. I shall have to make a weight limit across it for a while. Percy and Daisy will be all right, and Toby too, but Thomas is too heavy. Thomas looked anxious. Would you like to go and help Edward? Suggested the Fat Controller. Can Annie and Clarabelle come? Asked Thomas. The Fat Controller shook his head. They'll be needed here, I'm afraid, he said. Daisy can't carry all your passengers on her own. Percy promised to look after Annie and Clarabelle, but they were sorry to see Thomas go. To cheer Thomas up, Edward took him to see Bill and Ben, the twin engines who lived at the China Clay Harbour. Oh dear, not another blue engine, said Bill cheekily. First Edward, then Donald and Douglas, and now... Don't forget Gordon, interrupted Ben. He came here once by mistake, so he said. I don't think he enjoyed it much, he added innocently. The twins both chuckled, remembering. No, but seriously, Edward, said Bill, why doesn't the Fat Controller paint engines a proper colour? Like us, for instance. Thomas let off steam indignantly. Let me tell you, he began. All right, you two, laughed Edward. Go and move those trucks, and there won't be room for any more. Bill and Ben, abashed, went off happily. You just don't have to take them too seriously, explained Edward. Thomas smiled ruefully. I wish I knew how you deal with them, he said. Near the harbour, the line crossed a lane. The crossing had no gates. The line led to a farm which supplied food to the shops in the town. One morning, the farmer had difficulty starting his lorry. He did at last, but the lorry jerked along in fits and starts. The farmer was worried about his load of milk and butter and eggs. That milk will be churned to butter soon, he muttered to himself as he neared the level crossing. The lorry lurched across the rails. The back wheels were just clear when its engine made a noise like a tired sheep and stopped. The back of the lorry was still jutting out over the railway line. The farmer struggled to start it again, but it would not go. He had just got down to telephone for help when he heard a train approaching. Thomas wasn't going fast. When he saw the lorry, he set his brakes hard, but he couldn't stop. He hit the lorry with a loud crash. The force of the blow spun the lorry around. Splintered wood flew everywhere, and eggs, butter, and milk were catapulted over Thomas. Ugh! He exclaimed and stopped. Look at my poor old lorry, said the driver, coming out from behind the hedge where he had been sheltering. What a way to make an omelette! The driver made sure Thomas wasn't hurt. Then he stood back and surveyed the mess. He began to laugh. It's not funny, said Thomas crossly. An egg yolk trickled down his nose and burst on his buffer. You're not standing where I am, said his driver. You look just like a scrambled egg, Thomas. If a scrambled egg feels as sticky and wet as I do, then it's fairly uncomfortable, said Thomas. Please clean me. Both his driver and his fireman tried hard, but the heat of Thomas's boiler had cooked the eggs, and they were stuck. Sorry, Thomas, said his driver at last. We can't block the line any longer. We shall have to go on. At the end of the line, Thomas was taken to Bill and Ben's yard to be cleaned. The twins were there. "What's this?" asked Ben. "Must be a new engine," said Bill. Ben inspected the arrival. "No, Bill," he said. "That's our new engine. It's Thomas." "But it's our color, Ben, and Thomas doesn't think our color is proper for an engine." They heard a grinding noise. "Are your joints stiff, Bill?" asked Ben. But it wasn't Bill's joints. It was Thomas gnashing his teeth.